Thousands of drivers around the country have been nabbed by those red light cameras at intersections. You may be one of them. Get this, though. Los Angeles now, one of 500-plus cities to utilize those cameras, is pulling the plug. Why? Well, CBS News national correspondent Ben Tracy reports the system not only managed to be unpopular, but it's also a money loser.
Like most folks in Los Angeles, Abigail Stone spends a lot of time in her car, so it was only a matter of time before she got caught by the eye in the sky.
When I started going through it, I swear it was green because I wouldn't have gone through it, and all of a sudden, boop.
Los Angeles has 32 red light cameras at various intersections around the city. Since 2004, they have caught 180,000 drivers breaking the law, yet only about 60% of them ever paid the whopping $500 tickets. The city was reportedly losing $1.5 million a year on the program.
We need to be honest and transparent with this. This program did not work as was anticipated.
So on Wednesday, the Los Angeles City Council unanimously voted to turn off the red light cameras.
We want safe intersections, but there's not any data that proves that this was making these intersections safer.
At least 32 cities nationwide have turned on red light cameras, only to switch them back off, either because of court orders, collection issues, or data showing they don't improve safety.
That's really what's important here, and that the people of LA will be safer because of the end of this program.
Adding to the outrage among LA drivers is this week's revelation that paying the camera fines has always essentially been voluntary, because the city couldn't figure out if they were legally enforceable. Abigail Stone wants her money back.
Why did I pay this ticket? Why was I being such a good citizen about the whole thing? Why didn't I just ignore it? Who do I have to call to get a refund on this?
The Los Angeles camera program officially ends on Sunday. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Joining us now, CBS News legal analyst Jack Ford, and I hope Abigail is watching because we're going to get an important question answered for her in just a second. But first, as you look at this issue in L.A., there was some talk about the legality and whether or not they could legally enforce it.
Right.
So what kind of criteria do they need?
Well, we've actually seen some courts around the country, Erica, who have thrown these out. The highest court, for instance, in Minnesota said it's unconstitutional. And they said the reason is this. The way it works right now, you're looking at a light right there, and if you get a picture in the mail of a car that has your license plate on it, and it says you violated the law, bang, here's the picture, essentially, we're saying you're guilty. And some courts have said that's not the way our system works. Our system is such that you're innocent until proven guilty. Mm-hmm. And how are they going to prove that I was the driver just because the license plate is registered to me?
Right.
So you've seen some courts who've said that it just doesn't work unless you can prove who the driver is. Now, some states have cameras that'll take a shot of the driver. And in that situation, the courts have said that's fine. Other states have also said, by the way, it's not enough to just throw the photograph on the table and say, bang, you're guilty. Somebody has to come in and prove that this is a legitimate photograph, that the camera was working at the time. So there have been a number of issues raised about the legalities, the constitutionalities, and some have said, we're not happy with this, we're not going to let it stand.
And so the reason it's different, as you started to point out, though, in different cities, different municipalities, is because each one has its own set of laws, and each judge could interpret this differently.
Right, and some courts have actually said, no, we're okay with this. But you've seen some places, and it's one of the things that Los Angeles is talking about here, some places have said, let's put the constitutionality aside for a moment, and let's look at the efficiency, the efficacy of this whole thing. And one of the arguments has always been that this is going to be a deterrent, to keep people from flying through red lights.
Because you don't want to see that flash go off as you go through.
Exactly, but some jurisdictions have said, we're finding the opposite. We're finding that it's actually become a danger because people are so conscious of it that they'll jam their brakes on beforehand. And some have claimed that there's a higher incidence of rear-end strikes now because people are so concerned about that.
So it's not really working out in some cases. Then there are people like Abigail, who we met in the piece, who paid her fine and says, I want my money back.
Exactly.
Jack, you're the lawyer. Can she get it back?
The answer is this is not as if you bought something at a grocery store and opened it up and said, it's not what I wanted, give me my money back. Once you pay your fine, you essentially admit your liability.
Right.
You give up your right to contest it. You have the right to go in and challenge it if you want to, but once you say, okay, you know what, here's my check, I'm checking off the guilty part of it.
And you actually have to sign that ticket.
Yeah, leave me alone. I can't afford to take the day off to come in and contest this. Whatever your reason is for it, or maybe you were the driver. Whatever your reason is, once it's done, it's pretty much done. So even though if Los Angeles turns around and says, administratively, we're not going to do this anymore, chances are, not going to get your money back.
She's not getting the money back.
No. but a good try.
There you go. It's worth a shot. Jack, thanks.
All right, Eric.